We're joined on the Crispin Flintoff show by Peter Ford, the Workers' Party candidate in Runcorn and Helsby. How are you doing, Peter?
I'm great, exhilarated about May the 1st.
Yeah, well, it's less than a week now. I mean, it must be you must be getting quite tired after you've been campaigning for quite a while now. How do you feel?
Fantastic. It's been energizing, and we're building up to crescendo. The odds are shortening on us. We're currently depending which bookie you go to, third or fourth. And our odds are shortening. We have the momentum.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that I saw that the Workers' Party are third on in this particular bookie. That's pretty amazing considering there was no Workers' Party candidate in the last general election, and obviously you've got the big parties have got much more organisation and they've been there before. But also this for this reason, I was going to say on the BBC debate, Runcorn and Helsby debate, you're not there on that panel of candidates, so they're obviously not giving you much help that way. Um, what's your take on the fact that you were not given a chance to speak at this hustings?
Absolutely furious. What kind of democracy is it that will not admit onto the platform a party which, in all likelihood, will beat two or three of those who were on the platform? I understand the BBC have to have rules, but the rules appear to have been interpreted in a way that favors the incumbent mainstream, regular establishment parties, and they're tilted against any insurgent party.
Hmm. Now, I mean the bookies, as you saw on that screenshot, they've got Reform as the favourites to win this election, but the majority Labour had was 15,000 just a year ago. I mean, that seems like an incredible swing if it does happen. Do you think that that's a possibility that Reform can win?
It's very hard to say because there haven't been any proper opinion polls for a month. One can only go by reactions on the doorstep. And also, I think a good barometer has been the number of posters that one sees around town. And in a month of campaigning, I've literally only seen one for the Labour candidate. And I have only seen several for the Reform candidate. I think that tells us two things: that Labour are going to lose this, and probably to Reform, but the Runcorn electorate are underwhelmed by all the establishment candidates. The winners will be what I call the CBAs, can't be asked, the abstainers. I was thinking actually of setting up a party with that name, CBA party, but then I thought they won't be asked. But be that as it may, we do our best under the Workers' Party banner.
Mm.
And with George's visit imminent, with the distribution of our leaflets now going ahead, this is crucial. We, the party, don't have the money to do what Labour and Reform have done, and to flood the town, the constituency, with two or three of their leaflets over the last months. Each distribution cost about £20,000. We don't have anything like that kind of money, but you get a free mail shot delivered by Royal Mail. All candidates are entitled to one of these free mail shots, and ours just got delivered this morning, or at least my own did in my own mailbox, and it was wonderful to see. as I think in the days ahead, we'll see a further shortening of the odds.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with this is I've looked at the Labour Party's response to this on national social media, and they keep saying that reform are the Tories in disguise. Don't vote reform because they're just Tories. What do you think of that messaging that they're coming out with?
Well, it's also our messaging, to be honest. I have majored on that subject, but in a slightly different way. At the hustings last night, I said to the voters in front of me, above all, don't let the Tories win. Pause. They're thinking he's lost the plot. I said, no, I don't mean the blue Tories, and I don't mean the red Tories. The Labour Party that calls itself that, which is just masquerading, and don't vote for the turquoise Tories. So you've got a choice of three Tories.
Wow.
And they're all extremists.
Do you think that it's in the interest of Labour to build up reform a bit because the Conservatives are in such a bad way that if they can have a false enemy that we all have to avoid, that we can't have in, then they'll get more votes just on that fear of the far right or whatever they want to call them?
Yes, that's a possibility, but the permutations are endless. I imagine that Labour are tempted by the thought that if reform can be ushered in, that will do for the Conservative Party. And I do suspect that the days of the blue Tories are indeed numbered, in that they're a zombie party, only kept on life support by their presence in the chamber of the House of Commons. And that's the way they get onto all the programs. And if reform win, they will gobble up the Tories, probably before the general election. And Labour might then calculate that there'll be a polarization favouring them of everybody who's against the party seen as being unsavoury and racist will gravitate to the Labour side. I can see that, but it could also backfire. It would be like creating a Frankenstein monster that gets out of control, because the Reform Party are formidable operators with a lot of money behind them. There's also the possibility, of course, that the Workers' Party could snaffle up a lot of votes from both sides of the aisle, because we have a crossover appeal. We're socially conservative, we're anti-net zero, we are common sense socialists, and we're very working class. So we have a lot of appeal in both camps, and this will probably come to the fore in the 4 years, a long time before the general election.
Is there any other left party or candidate who's talking against the war in Ukraine or against?
On the contrary, the Greens try to portray themselves as sort of left, but they are Ukrainists to the core. They make it an article of green face, that you have to be very pro-Ukraine.
I mean, that's
and not just in this country, in Europe, the German Greens are the worst of the lot.
So that's definitely not something that a lot of us would go along with, and the Greens tend to make out that they are a very left party, but there's a lot of other evidence. I mean, the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism as well is part of their constitution or their policy on that, which has tied the Labour Party in knots. So what can you tell us?
With the Greens, Crispin, I would say that again, they should just join Labour, because it's hard to point to a policy that they don't share with Labour. Labour are extremely pro net zero, can't be faulted, as it were, on that if you believe in the climate cult. I can't think of a reason why anyone would vote Green, unless it is just a general disappointment with Labour over just about everything except their greenery. For the rest of the week, our main focus will be on leafleting. We need as many hands as possible. Sadly, there's not going to be another hustings. It's deplorable that this important by-election, which may decide in a way the fate of the nation, because it's a sort of referendum on this Labour government, the first time they've faced the electorate after 9 months, and it's likely to produce some form of shock result. It's shameful that the main political parties of this country have avoided direct scrutiny and meetings with the general public of the constituency, and been allowed to get away with it without this being pointed up by the state broadcaster or any of the other establishment mainstream media.